Hello grade 10s, welcome to Life Science, and today we're going to talk about plant tissue. Now, I know that all of you normally say how boring plant tissues, but you've got to understand, without plants, we get nowhere enough. Right, so let's have a look at it. It's not as complicated as you think, right? So let's get going through it. First thing that I want you to have a look at is overview, what we're going to have a look at. Okay, first thing, all plants are made up of the following things. First thing, it's made up of meristematic tissue, right? And this tissue is very, very cool, okay? This tissue is the beginning part of all of it, okay? It's undifferentiated, unspecialized, so it's undifferentiated, unspecialized cells undergoing cellular division. And can you remember what that is? That's mitosis. Okay, cool. The cells that are formed do not differentiate as they've divided. Sorry, I got to get this right. They've divided and they make the plant grow. Once the cells are formed, they change and they differentiate into specialized permanent tissue. Now, there was big words there, lots of them. Undifferentiated, unspecified, right? Understand, okay, it's very simple. These are the basic cells. These are the cells that make the plant grow. They take a cell and they divide and they make another cell, identical to itself. And all these cells just divide and divide and divide. And what happens after a while when they get bigger, they start specializing into certain things. It's like we are. We all go to the same school, well, a school. We all go to the school, right? From grade 1 to grade 12, we're all in a school. Then we start, when we've gotten big enough, we differentiate. Some people go and study to be a lawyer. Some are studying to be doctors. Some are studying to be a architect. Some are just the CA. Can you understand where I'm coming from? It's exactly what cells are like. Next one, your permanent tissue. Okay, tissues that do not divide and grow further. They develop special functions for. They develop special structures for specific functions. Okay, that's the university part. That's where we study to become the lawyers and everything. So you have your meristematic tissue, and then you have your permanent tissue. Okay, so that is what we're going to have a look at. Now, let's get into the crux of the matter, and I know you know a couple of these things. What I want is, where are the following tissues found in plants, and what do they do? Okay, so I've given you quite a few. You got your meristematic tissue, you have your parenchyma, you got your epidermal, Collenchyma, Sclerenchyma, xylem, phloem, and Chloroenchyma. Okay, so those few tissues, let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. Okay, I want you to tell me where the following tissues are found in plants and what do they do. There's 8 tissues, so I'm going to give you 4 minutes. Quick form. I know it's long, okay? I want to know where they're found, and I want to know what they do. Okay, so actual fact, I think you can do better than that. I reckon you can do it in 3, okay? So you ready? 3 minutes, off you go. I know that you've got them right. So let's go see what you came up with, okay? There's quite a few, so that's why I gave you quite a big number of time, well, large number of time to actually get this. So make sure that you get everything that you need. Okay, first one, meristematic tissue, okay? It's a tissue in which, here we go, it's a tissue in which cells remains forever young, okay? So it's always young cells, and they divide actively throughout the lifespan of the plant. So this cell, all its job is, its whole job is to just produce new cells all the time. And where is it found? Okay, it's in the growing point. So in other words, the tips in the nodes of plants, at that type of place. Right, let's have a look at the next one. Parenchyma tissue, okay? This is the ground tissue and it's non-woody structure. So in other words, ground tissue means it's found everywhere. It's another word for it is called your packing tissue, okay? And that's found, it's normally between the epidermis and the endodermis. It's found between the two. As we get through there, you'll see it becomes easier. I'm going to explain them all in detail to you later. Okay, next one. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Okay, next one. I'll just change the page. Next one, your epidermal. Okay, and remember I told you epidermal. It's the outermost, it's the protective layer. So it's to protect the inner tissue and reduce the rate of transpiration. So what it does is, it protects all the inside tissues. It's like your skin, for instance, okay? What it does is it protects the inside parts, okay? And it also decreases the amount of transpiration. Do you know what that is? Transpiration is very important. Transpiration is where plants give off water, right? So we want to keep the water. So if we don't want to lose too much water, you want to try and stop transpiration, okay? Next one, Collenchyma, okay? Thin primary walls with some areas of secondary thickening provides extra support, extra structural support, particularly in regions of new growth. Okay, these guys, Collenchyma, and when I speak to you later about it, you'll find out we're talking about thickening corners. These are the type of plants that give you extra strength, that makes the plant stand up nice and hard, that is not woody. In other words, does not have that hard wood like a tree. Okay, it's those green plants that bend, right? So what we do is we harden them slightly so they can stand up. Otherwise, they'll just fall on the ground all the time. Okay, so that is your Collenchyma tissue. Next one we're having a look at is Sclerenchyma tissue. Okay, and your Sclerenchyma tissue provides mechanical stiffness, okay, and strength. The fibers and scleroids are, there are many types of Sclerenchyma cells. In other words, these are the type of cells that they're actually dead cells, right? And all they do, their only job is for strength. Okay, they stand and they support. They're like the bricks of the plant. Well, not the plant, yeah, of the plant. They're the bricks of the plant. They're the solid, hard structures. Okay, and they are dead, which we'll talk about. Okay, so they're the strong structure of the plant. Right. Next one. You get your xylem. Your xylem is quite a cool one. It's a compound tissue in vascular plants. In other words, it has a vascular system. The plant has a vascular system that helps provide support and that conducts water, nutrients upwards from the roots, right? And it goes up the trachea through vessels, through the parenchyma cells. It's found in woody fibers. Okay, so you have your vessels, your parenchyma cells, and woody fibers. All of those help bring water and minerals from the ground all the way to the top where we need it in the leaves to go through that huge, perfect thing called photosynthesis. Right, next one, your phloem tissue. Okay, your phloem tissue is food. Okay, and here it is, the part of a vascular bundle, remember, which means it's got to be in a vascular plant. Okay, consisting of sieve tubes, companion cells, parenchyma, and fibers, and forming food-conducting tissue for plants. In other words, these guys, you've got your sieve tubes in it, okay? You've got your companion cells, and we'll talk about what companion cells do and why are they so important, okay? We're going to talk about the parenchyma cells around it, okay, and how they are used. Okay, and then of course, the main functions of your phloem tissue is to transport food. Okay, and then if I'm not mistaken, the last one I asked you to have a look at was your Sclerenchyma tissue, and these are very simple. This is the same as parenchyma. Remember that packing tissue I told you about? It's the same as parenchyma. The only difference is now they have chloroplasts in them. So let's see what I put here. The parenchyma tissue containing chloroplasts. Okay, so those are the ones that we looked at. These are simple. As soon as you know this, you've got it waxed. Okay, now, here we go. Let's have a look at this. I've given you a nice little diagram over here, and I'm going to explain this diagram in lots of detail so that you can understand it. Okay, first of all, plant tissues are divided into two sections. First one, you get your meristematic tissue and you get your permanent tissue. Remember, I told you that right in the beginning. One does not differentiate, right? Remember, it's still new. It hasn't gone through differentiation. It keeps dividing, in other words, making new cells through mitosis. Okay, now, here we go. The meristematic tissue, these cells divide, and that's what they do their whole entire job. They divide, okay? And they go through cell division, as what I put down at the bottom here. Cell division, meristematic tissue, makes you get more cells. Without the meristematic tissue, your plant is not going to grow. And that's why if you take a plant that is growing and you cut the top of it off, you'll notice a lot of the times it won't carry on growing up, it's going to come out the sides because the meristematic tissue on the top there has been cut off. So it won't grow there anymore. Okay, that's why a tree becomes like a shrub if you cut the top of it. Okay, next one, your permanent tissue. Your permanent tissue is divided into two sections. Okay, your two sections is your simple and you get your complex. Okay, now your complex, if I have a look at it, I always go to the complex first because your complex in this stage is going to be your two main things. It's your water, which is your xylem, and it is your phloem, which is your food. Okay, and if we have a look at that, your xylem transports water, ions, strengthens, and supports. Okay, and your phloem transports manufactured food. In other words, food that this plant has made. Okay, and phloem consists of sieve tubes and companion cells. Now, if you have a look at your xylem, it's got your vessels and your tracheids. Okay, you need to know them. Okay, now, next one. If you have a look at your simple tissue, and there's more simple tissue, that's why I left it alone. And we're going to start with, first one, your epidermal tissue, okay? Then you're going to have your parenchyma tissue, your Collenchyma tissue, your Sclerenchyma tissue. Now, the Collenchyma and Sclerenchyma and Chloroenchyma, okay, they are all parenchyma tissue. They're all parenchyma tissue, packing tissue. Okay, it's just they have a slightly different function. Because they have that function that's different, they can't be named the same. Okay, so let's have a look at your epidermal tissue. Your epidermal tissue protects and absorbs water and exchanges gases. Okay, so we're looking at the two ones that we're going to have a look at is your root hair and your guard cells. Okay. Then we're going to have a look at your parenchyma tissue, which is there for storage and packaging. Okay, your packaging cells. Can you remember I've been telling you that? Then you're going to get to your Collenchyma tissue, which is there for support and storage and protection, storage and strengthening. Okay, and then the other one is your Sclerenchyma cell, which is there for strengthening again. It does have your strengthening. It doesn't do much of your storing. It's mostly got to do with strengthening. It's got to do with support, and it's got to do with shape. Okay, so that's what those two guys are. And we have a look at it. Your Chloroenchyma, as I said, is your parenchyma tissue that has got chlorophyll in it, and your Sclerenchyma cells, your scleroids, and your fibers. Okay, and I know I'm rushing through this, but you must make sure that you understand this. If you get this, you're going to be A for away. You need a break. I do. As soon as we come back, we're going to get stuck right back into it. Don't know what's wrong with me today. See you now. Welcome back. Hopefully your brains are switched on. Remember, all these tissues sound so difficult. They're actually not. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you two questions quickly. Oh, wrong way. I'm going to give you two questions. These questions, I'm going to give you a minute. You're going to answer them for me, and let's see how well you do. Okay, so let's have a look at the question. What is the definition for tissues in life science? So they haven't just brought plants in this, right? Okay, and why do cells need to look different? Okay, you have a minute. So all I want you to do is I want you to concentrate, give me the best definition you can, and let's see how good you actually are. See you now. Yes, I know you are in grade 10, and I know this is easy, but remember the basic parts first. Okay, I know you got these right. That's why I'm just making sure we're all getting there. First one, what is the definition for tissues in life science? Okay, here we go. It's a group or layer of similar specialized cells that together perform a certain specific function. Okay, so if you have a look at me, remember it starts off with cells, then tissues. From tissues it goes to organs, from organs it goes to systems, from systems it goes to organism. Okay, so remember a group of tissues, a group of cells together form a tissue. And what is a tissue? It's cells that look the same and do the same function. Okay, or that look the same and have specific functions to do a specific function. Okay, so that is a tissue. Now the next one is, why do cells need to look different? Remember, the way the structure of them is linked to its function. Okay, the cell that looks different performs different functions. Very simple. When it looks different, it does different things. Very, very simple. Okay, this is downright basic stuff. Simple, simple, simple. Okay, so let's have a look at this. The basic parts of a plant. Let's go have a look at this plant. Okay, here we go. We have a flower. We all know what a flower does, right? Okay, there's a bud, there's a leaf. All these things are basic. Stem, and of course, your root. It's a basic structure of a plant. So when I talk about flowers, of course you'll know what it is. Specialized leaves, how's that? Okay, you have your bud where you'll find a lot of meristematic tissue. You have your roots where you're going to absorb things, and you have your stem, which is the lift up and down from the leaves to the roots, so they're all connected, and everything can be done nicely. Right? This is the basic. You will never be asked, do you have such a simple diagram? I just thought I'd make you smile for a while. Okay, let's have a look what we've got next. Okay, key concepts. To be able to perform all these specialized functions, plant cells must have different structures. Remember, the structure is based on what its function is. Okay, so the first one we're going to have a look at is meristematic tissue, or embryonic tissue. There it is, embryonic tissue. Now have a look at those two. Okay, what's actually happening here? Over here you can see I've given you what looks like under a microscope, and over here it's a drawing that somebody's drawn of what's happening under the microscope. And if you have a look, you can see that this one here is your nucleus, and there's a dividing. Can you see how the nucleus is dividing? We're creating two cells. Okay, mitosis, the division, okay, of cells. Then over here, I've got a couple of questions for you, which I'm going to give you a while to answer. These guys go through mitosis, and mitosis means it makes the plant grow. Okay, what I want is the structure, the function, and the location. And I know you've gone through this with your teacher, so make sure you give me everything. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute. Okay, I think a minute is good enough for this. Are you ready? It's all yours. Let's go. Let's see how you did. Okay, so the structure of it, okay, it's very, very simple. The structure is a group of immature cells with the capacity to divide. In other words, it's going to make more and more and more cells. And that's its structure. Okay? And if you have a look at it, it normally has a large nucleus, so we can do it all the time. Okay? Its function, as we said, primary and secondary growth. Primary growth means right in the beginning, it makes it, and secondary growth, it makes it go fatter, right, or bigger and stronger. Okay? And the last one, location, apical and lateral meristems. Okay? Apical and lateral meristems. Now, the meristem is where you find meristematic tissue. Okay, so I've got a picture of it here for you. There it is. Okay. Now, if you have a look at it, this part here that's colored in gray is your meristem. Okay, and that is your apical, means the top. Here is your lateral, which is the side ones. Okay, and you'll notice over here there's also one. Okay, and go look at your plants. You'll notice if the stem is coming down, okay, and there's another stem coming up here, as that stem goes up, you will see there's a meristem, or should I say a bud, a lateral bud over there. Okay, it just shows you that there is growth over there. Okay, these are quite simple. These are basic. You guys are getting this right. It's nice and easy, huh? Okay, next one. We're going to have a look at your parenchyma cells. Now, the best way I can explain parenchyma cells, so have a good look at me, the best way I can find it. If I go and buy a glass bowl, or a TV, okay? So what you're watching now, okay, a TV. When you buy this TV, you have a box, okay? And that is a cardboard box. That's the epidermal tissue, right? Now, the TV is called your complex tissue, or should I say your xylem and your phloem tissue. That's for the food to move up and down, right? And how do we protect the TV from getting scratched or damaged or cracked or anything like that? What do we put around it? We put the stuff called polystyrene, that white stuff. Have you seen it? I'm sure you have. Okay. Now, that polystyrene represents your packing tissues or your parenchyma tissue. Okay, it is there, it's packing, it's stopping the cells that are in the middle from getting destroyed. Okay, and that is the best way to explain parenchyma tissue. Okay, so let's have a look at it. You can see, nice thing about this, okay, a parenchyma tissue, they're nice and big. Can you see how big they are? Okay, and then look, can you see the air spaces? What's this air space there? There's an air space there. There's an air space there. Can you see them all? There's another air space there. There's a lot of air spaces between them, because if they have those air spaces, it's packing tissue. Okay, when it becomes complicated, they stick very tight together, and they don't want that. Okay, so air spaces and nice and big, that's how you recognize them, or that's how you see them, and you know exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so here we go. A minute again. And it's a simple thing again. Structure, function, location. Okay? I'm going to give you a minute. Are you ready? Off you go. Okay, let's see if you got exactly what I got. Structure of it. Remember, I just spoke about it 2 seconds ago. Okay, it is thin primary walls. Okay, I didn't mention the walls. It's nice and thin, so things can move through it quickly. If you have a look at the root, it's got to move through the root quickly. Okay, remains meristematic and at maturity. Okay, in other words, it reproduces very quickly. Okay, meristematic at its stage. It doesn't differentiate. It doesn't go into a xylem tissue. It doesn't go into phloem or epidermal tissue or endodermal tissue, right? And you're going to learn about things called like the cambium, the cork cambium and that type of thing, okay, which is very, very important. Let's have a look at its function here. Next one, function. Come on, there we go. Okay, its function, it's ground tissue. Specified function depends on its location. For example, I know that's terrible how I said it, okay? But for example, if I want to protect the tissue, right? If I want to protect the meristematic tissue, I'm going to make it nice and thick so it gets nice and big. If you have a look at it, a tree that starts off very thin, have you noticed how big and fat they get? Okay? Now, the meristematic tissue is going to protect that xylem and that phloem that's inside to its maximum. And after a while, let me tell you this, after a while, it becomes very thin. The meristematic tissue, the parenchyma tissue becomes very, very thin, and we get rid of it at the end. But in the beginning, it's there for package and it's there for storage. Remember, it's like your cupboards as well. You can store all your things in there. Okay. Now, last one we're going to have a look at is the location. And the location of it, as I said to you, it's in the cortex, right, of the stem. It's the mesophyll of the leaf and fleshy fruits. Now, can you remember what the mesophyll of the leaf actually is? Let me see. Let me bring this down here quickly and extend this page a little bit, and I will show you that the mesophyll, remember, you get your leaf, you get your epidermal tissues are there, okay? You get your long palisade parenchyma tissues over there. Okay, it looks like that all the way around. There we go. Okay, then you get your vascular bundle over there. Okay, let's see if I can extend this page a little bit more. Okay, come on. And then you get this part here that I'm coloring in here. This is your mesophyll of your leaf. So you're going to find it there, and then at the end, you're going to get your epidermal cells again, okay, and you're going to get a guard cell. There's one, there's two, and then you get, so that's your whole leaf. Okay, so it's found with this coloring section here. That's your mesophyll. Okay, it's quite nice. Okay, now all of these things are very important. Let's have a look at the next one. Okay, epidermal tissue. You see them quite often. If you went and done an onion crack, this is what you'll see. Look how they stuck together over here. They look like a puzzle piece. It's perfect. Okay? They zigzag, they're perfect. These are very, very important cells because they're there for protection. Okay? And let's have a look at it. Structure, function, and location. I want to give you a minute. When we come back, we'll go through it, and then we're going to go on a break. But give me a quick minute. Let's see if you can do this. Ready? Off you go. Nice. Let's see if you got it right. Structure. First of all, come on. It's thin primary walls, and they remain meristematic at maturity. In other words, they don't specialize in. Okay. Next one. they're covering, that's there for covering and protecting, okay? And the last one, where is it found? It's found in the cortex of the stem, the mesophyll of leaves, and fleshy stems. Exactly the same as the other, okay? Some of the I just want to give you this information before we go on, because we don't want to just end off in the middle of nowhere, okay? Sometimes the epidermis needs to perform another function other than just covering the plant, different tissue, they got different tissues underneath the layer, and that's where you get your endodermis, okay? You can think what the epidermis needs to do other than protect and cover, okay? Can you think of anything else that it can do? Can you think of anything else it needs to do? It needs to protect the inner part and make things stronger, okay? The roots need to be able to absorb water, so the epidermis has root hairs, okay? Now, when you come back, we'll have a look at specialized epidermal tissue. Okay, so have your break. When you get back, let's see what we can do. Cheers. Now, welcome back, and let's have a look at specialized epidermal tissue. Remember, there's two. You're going to get your root hair and you're going to get your guard cells. Let's have a look at your root hair. Okay, there it is. And it's not like roots that you see. Okay, you always see roots as you get this root over there, and let's draw another one in there, and then you think it's these little hairs that come out the sides. Okay, it's not. These are even smaller. This is in the cell itself. And if you have a look here, okay, there's a nice one. Okay, what happens is the cell itself comes out of the root hair. Okay, so the cell itself extends. And why does it do that? Because it increases surface area for the plant to absorb water. So there's the first one. And the second one, we have the stomata, or the guard cell. And if you have a look at here, if we have a big hole, water and carbon dioxide and oxygen can move in and out. And if it doesn't have one, it can't. So that there stops the water from leaving, or stops it from, or stops oxygen and carbon dioxide from coming in or out. Okay, so that is your guard cells. It protects the plant. It stops water. If there's too much water, it can get rid of it. If there's not enough water, it closes to stop water from leaving. And there, if you look on both of them, that is one under a microscope, as you can see it over there. And this one is under the microscope as well. And you'll notice there's the guard cell. It looks like that. That's closed. Cool, huh? That is your specialized epidermal tissue. Your next one. Now remember, we were looking at these cells called your parenchyma cells, the packing cells. Okay? Now, they are there for a reason. They're very, very important. But now sometimes we just need to adapt them slightly, right, to change their function. Okay? The next cells we're going to look at is your Collenchyma cells, or Collenchyma cells, C-O-L-L. Okay? Collenchyma cells. And the Collenchyma cells, they there for support. These ones are still living though. So let's have a look at it. Look at these pictures down here at the bottom. Okay? Can you see what they look like? Okay? Have you noticed how black they are at certain parts? Look at this pink one here. Okay? And the nice thing I want you to see is this piece here. See how dark they are in there. Okay? Oh, I don't want to erase it. See how dark they are inside there. It's very important. Now what this cell is, if I had to draw one individual, okay, you know, you get your normal cell that looks roundabout like that, okay? And what happens is they put this special stuff called lignin in the corner of the cell, over here, okay, in the corner of the cell. So that means that that cell is very, very strong here because it's got so much hardness in, but things can still get in and out through the rest of the cell. So it's a living cell, it just gives it more support. Remember, the thicker the wall, the better it is, okay? So let's have a look at these functions. Remember what I want from you? Structure, function, and location. Structure, function, location. How long do you have? What do you think? Come on, 1 minute, off you go. You got it right. I'm sure you did. Let's have a look how you did. First one, the structure of it. It's an elongated cell, right? It's an elongated cell with irregular, thick cell walls that provide support and structure. Remember, I know that when it says an irregular, thick cell wall, it means it's thickened in the corners. Right, next one. What is its function? Its function there, it provides, it provides structural support, okay, protecting the plant by serving as an inner framework. Almost like your bones, eh? Think about it. Almost like your bones. So this could be almost like a plant's skeleton. Not really, it's not really like that, but that's what it does. It almost does like an internal support. How cool is that? Okay, and then of course, where do we found these guys? Well, they found, there we go, and they found in growing parts of the plants such as shoots and leaves. Okay, so all the growing parts of the plant, it's there to protect them so that they don't get damaged. It's cool, eh? Okay, let's have a look at the next slide that I've got for you. The next one is Sclerenchyma. Now, Sclerenchyma cells, these are cool. Okay, your Sclerenchyma cells. Look how, if I just have a look at this part here, okay, have a look at it. Look how thick these walls are. They are very, very, very thick. And they're there for a specific function. Okay, what actually happens with these cells? These guys are dead. Okay, they're normal cells. What happens is, we had the normal cell, there it is. Okay, you have your normal cell, and there is the cell membrane. Okay, cool, can you see it? Cell membrane. And then what happens is the cell is living and it's going all fine, and then all of a sudden the plant says, hold on, I need some protection here. Okay, so I'm going to take a special liquid called lignin. Okay, and this lignin, I'm going to pump it into the cell wall, and I'm going to fill the whole thing. Now, can you remember, if we look at this board here quickly, and I'm going to use pink for a few seconds. Can you remember when we got to Collenchyma, we thickened the corners? Can you remember that? Okay, so we thickened the corners to make it nice and strong, but it was still living. Things could get in and out. When it comes to Sclerenchyma, we thicken the whole thing. So this whole thing gets thickened here, which means nothing can get in and nothing can get out. So everything on the inside will die. And what does that what does that do for this specific cell? It makes it hard and it makes it strong. And this one here is for support. Okay? For example, you can find these in nuts. Okay? You know those things that you crack open and you eat the insides, the outside of it, that is filled with lignin. Those are Sclerenchyma cells. Okay, so let's have a look. How would you recognize them? You see how this is here? It's all nice and thick. Okay, they are dead, and you can see how thick they are over here as well. They're all dead cells. Okay, these are one of my favorite cells out. Okay, nice and thick and strong and solid. Okay, they don't look like they give their life to protect what they think is right, and that's, to me, that's so cool. Hey, okay, let's see what you've got. You have a minute, and I want the structure, the function, and the location. Are you ready? Off you go. Let's have a look how you did. First one, it's structure. Okay, remember, right in the beginning, I told you it contains fibers, right, and sclerides. Okay, and remember that is to make it nice and strong and hard. Okay, remember the walls are thickened because it's got that lignin inside it. Okay, next thing, its function, and it's a simple function. It is for support, makes things strong and it holds them up nice and high and strong. Okay, and then the last one, if I can get my thing working, location, and here we go. It's for root stems, vascular bundles. Okay, so it's all the important, they're always around the important parts. And if you have a look at it, you know the nuts that you're cracking open, what are they? They're seeds. So what is going to be around them? A protective layer. What type of protective layer? Well, Sclerenchyma cells. Hey, how cool is that? Let's see. Now we've got the next two. Remember, we've been explaining to each other, we've been talking about your not so complex tissue. Now we're going to go to the complex one, which means we're going to look at xylem and phloem. So let's have a look at it. Your transport, okay? Your transport tissue, and this is your xylem. Xylem is water. This one transports water, okay? And let's have a look at it. It's very simple, okay? It is the xylem. It's a complete xylem over there. It's made up of your tracheids and your vessels, okay? And it's got parenchyma cells near it. It's also got pits in between it so that water can flow between them, okay? And that's what it looks like under a microscope, okay? So let's see. I know you guys have done this all. So same thing what I want from you. Structure, function, location. And you've got 1 minute. You'll not get this wrong. Ready, and off you go. Welcome back. Let's see how well you actually did. Okay, the structure of your xylem, okay, contains tracheids and vessels. Simple, easy. Next one, the function of it transports water and dissolved minerals. And last one, its function, its location in the vascular bundle, because it is vascular tissue. Next one, we've got the last one that we're going to have a look at, phloem tissue, which is your phloem, which is for food. And if we have a look at it, your phloem tissue have things called your sieve plates, and one of the most important things, it's got this thing called companion cells that keeps it alive, because things have to move in and out, up and down here, so it's got all its favorite things on the other side. Right, so what I've done is I've kept it open so we don't have to go and learn it ourselves. Let's have a look at it. Its structure, okay, contains sieve tubes and companion cells to look after each other, okay? Next, you know what? If it doesn't have those companion cells, remember that the food's moving in and out of these cells, so it's literally like a straw. And the companion cells are sitting next to it, giving it all its energy and helping it, right? So it's keeping it alive. So companion cells are very, very important when it comes to your phloem tissue, okay? Next one, its function. Transports food and nutrients. Remember, who makes the food and the nutrients? The plants, of course. Okay, and the last one, the location, also in the vascular bundle. Okay, so those are the main things. Now, what I've done now is I've given you something that they might ask you. And I'm not going to ask you because we don't have that much time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of this. And there it is. They'll give you a picture like this, and they will say to you, okay, which photograph or diagram, A to D, represents a xylem trachea? Give reason for your answer. Okay, so it's there. This is the type of questions they're going to ask you to have a look at. And it's very, very difficult, right? The next one, they'll say, 2 cells are shown in diagram B. Which label cell is a diagram A is a cross-section of the one of these cells. So if we have a look at this, A, if I have a look at this one here, which one is where, 1 or 2? Right. So those are the type of questions that they're going to ask you in your tests. So make sure, and trust me on this, make sure you go around, have a look, learn as much as you possibly can. But there's no more time today. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'm sure I will see you soon. So speak to you soon. Cheers.